There's a special kind of silence that only exists in winter. It isn't just the absence of noise, it's a dampening weight, a suppression in the air. The snow doesn't simply cover the world, it hides between the edges of the darkness. It softens the architecture, and in doing so, helps make things feel further away than they really are. In 2008, Tomas Alfredson gave us Let the Right One In. 2 years later, Matt Reeves responded with Let Me In. To view these merely as a foreign film and a remake is to miss the point entirely. These are two different nightmares born from the same dream. They understand something most horror films do not. The monster is late to the story. By the time the vampire arrives, the children are already bleeding, both emotionally and psychologically. The vampire doesn't create their loneliness, but rather recognizes it. We're not here to recount the plot, though. We're here to ask what happens when the snow melts, and see what was buried underneath in the darkness. Let's talk about the victim before we talk about the monster. He sniffs, constantly, a wet biological tick. He doesn't just practice violence, he rehearses it. When he stabs the tree, whispering the insults, he isn't playing. He's trying to understand the mechanics of power. But if we open up the novel by John Ajvide Lindqvist, we find something far more disturbing. On paper, Oscar isn't just lonely. He's vibrating with repressed sadism. He collects newspaper clippings of murder cases. He doesn't just imagine fighting back, he imagines the torture. Comparing this to Owen from Let Me In, Owen's loneliness is much louder. It's a panic of a child screaming behind the soundproof glass. He's a voyeur desperate for connection. But Oscar stops screaming entirely. Psychologists call this the learned helplessness. We want to reach through the screen and save him, and we want to go tell an adult, but the film punishes that instinct. Instead, it shows us a world where adults are useless, distant shapes, hidden behind the shadows. The novel suggests the darkness isn't invading Oscar, it's already there. He's a boy who arguably becomes a monster himself, long before he needs one. I'm 12, but I've been 12 for a long time. Lena Lee Anderson's Eli is not a child. She's an ancient, calcified creature wearing the skin of a child. The Swedish film understands biological horror. Eli isn't magical whatsoever. She's a parasite. She sits hunched like a gargoyle, and she smells like an infected bandage or soil from the old earth from long ago. And then there's the gender. In the film, it's very much implied, but in the book, it's explicit. Eli is not a girl, but in fact was a boy, castrated centuries ago by a sadistic nobleman who wanted to preserve his youth. This detail is obviously horrific, but essential to the story. This isn't Romeo and Juliet. These are two mutilated things, one physically and one psychologically, recognizing the damage in each other. Chloe Grace Moretz's Abby is a tragic angel who wants to be a human. Eli, on the other hand, has almost forgotten what a human is. We focus on the children, but we ignore the ghost at the table. Håkan, the quote-unquote father of the story. He's not her true blood-related father, and he's certainly not a Renfield, but he is a prophecy. Håkan was once Oscar. 40 years ago, he was the boy on the jungle gym. He gave up his sunlight, his friends, and his very life to be her protector. And his reward is to be discarded the moment he becomes too slow and too old. The film grants him mercy of death, but unfortunately the novel does not. In the book, he returns as a rotting, mindless zombie that stalks Eli. It's a grotesque metaphor for codependency. You don't just die for the monster, you rot for them. You lose your mind, your humanity, and even your soul. And still, after everything, you cannot let go. When we watch Oscar fall in love with Eli, we're not watching a romance. We're watching the recruitment process. The position has opened up, but the interview is very much over. Does the vampire love the boy? Perhaps. In the way a drowning person loves a life raft, or in the way a wolf loves the winter coat. It's a possessive, consuming love. Psychologists call this a trauma bond, a relationship defined by intense, shared danger rather than stability. She doesn't tell Oscar to stop being violent, she tells him to be better at violence. One film whispers the truth, whereas the other screams it, but both leave you trembling in the end. The climax at the swimming pool is the distillation of the philosophies. In Let Me In, the camera stays above the water. It's an action beat, a vengeance. It offers catharsis. But in the original, we stay underwater. We hear muffled screams, and we see the severed head sink slowly in a dreamlike state to the bottom. Oscar doesn't fight, he doesn't flinch either, he just floats, eyes shut with the horror submerged around him. We don't see the savior either, we only see the consequence. Oscar holds his breath, and the monster cleans the world for him. This is the moment the pact is sealed. Violence has yet again solved the problem. And this leads us to the uncomfortable question. Is it better to be a monster's pet than to be a victim? The film ends here, on a train with a smile. It feels like a victory. They have escaped the bullies and they're traveling into the night, together at last. And if you stop watching now, you can believe in that triumph. But again, the author John Advid Lindqvist wrote a final chapter that very few know about, a short story called Let the Old Dreams Die. He jumps forward in time and he shows us the destination of that train, and he confirms the prophecy that we've been assuming this entire time to be very much true. Oscar is still there, but the boy is gone. He's now a middle-aged man, a drifter, a killer. He spent 40 years draining bodies to feed a child who will never grow up. The love story didn't save him, it consumed him. He has become Håkon. He's the new caretaker, waiting for the day his hands shake too much to hold the knife. Waiting for that day that he becomes old and becomes that loose end. The film offers the illusion of an ending, but the book reminds us of the dark, cold truth. Monsters don't have happy endings. They just have long, cold, dark nights. These are not films about how love conquers evil. There are films about how love is the evil, how it binds us and how it blinds us. Let the right one in. It sounds like an invitation, but really, it's a warning. So keep your doors locked and your windows shut, and until next time, keep watching in the shadows.